Did you know the divorce rate for entrepreneurs is 5 to 10% higher than employees? And imagine for people who are working with their partner in a business, it's even higher. And when you think about it, you're working together, you're playing together, maybe you're raising kids together, and every single moment, it's all about work. It can be exhausting, it can be frustrating, and it can lead to separation and divorce. My name is Susan Sly. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a tech investor. I'm a mom of 5, and I have been married to my husband for over 17 years. And this is a topic that is on my heart to talk to you about today because it is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get. And on all of YouTube, my video talking about how to navigate your relationship and build a business is the highest rated video I have. So with that, let's get started with this episode of Raw and Real Entrepreneurship. I'm going to give you 5 tips today to help you navigate your waters as a couple and as entrepreneurs. All right. So when you think about it, as an entrepreneur, your business becomes like another member of your relationship. And for some people, it's the first thing they think about in the morning. It's the last thing they think about at night. And when you take those vows, if you're married, it's like, I'm going to love, I'm going to honor, I'm going to obey, and it's for better, for worse. And then suddenly you add a business to the mix and you're like, I love my business and I'm honoring my business and I'm obeying my business and I'm here, and it's when things are good, it's like your relationship is good, but when things are challenging in your business, your relationship is challenged. And over the years, I've helped so many couples navigate building a business and staying in their relationship. And it's tough. And because this is raw and real entrepreneurship, I do not sugarcoat anything. I think I'm at the stage of my life, I'm almost 50, where I'm like, I just don't have time for nonsense or BS. So just keeping it raw and real. There have been many times for my husband and I, when we've looked at each other and gone, okay, this just isn't working. And in the first, I would say 12 to 13 years of our marriage, there were many times where like, well, maybe we should just call it quits. And it's, I can't emphasize this enough. It is so tough, but sometimes you have to stay where it's hard because that's where you grow. And the grass may look greener, but the reality is you are going to take yourself everywhere you go. And so if you leave your relationship, you're going to take yourself to a new relationship and you might end up having the exact same challenges. So let's talk about why these things happen. So when you're growing a business, sometimes things can get tense because your partner resents the amount of time you're spending on the business. They can also get tense because your partner feels that you're taking risks. And so my husband, Chris, with one of the businesses that I started that became very, very successful, he felt it was a very risky business. And the business was an online selling business, the health and wellness space. And initially he felt threatened because he didn't understand it. And isn't it true, just nod your head, that we're often the most critical of the things we really don't understand? And so he wanted to protect me, and he just didn't think that that was the right choice for me because he was an employee. He thought I'd be better off being an employee, but I started my first business when I was 11. So it's just not in my nature to be an employee, and God bless employees. I have many of them. I prefer to be that person who's starting the business, growing the business. The third reason why your partner could be challenging you if you're the entrepreneur is because they resent it. So it's not that they don't understand it. Maybe they do, but they've just come to resent the business. They resent the fact that that business is taking priority over them. And there are all sorts of ways this may manifest. So they may begin to give you the cold shoulder. They might begin to gaslight you. They might begin to sort of plant some seeds that, you're doing the wrong thing. You're making the wrong moves. They might begin to pull away from you. Or at the extreme, maybe they go seek out amorous relationships elsewhere. And because we're keeping it raw and real, the thing that I want to say to you is this: you fell in love with this person, and you are either, as one of my amazing mentors, Jim Coover, says, you're either growing together or you're growing apart. And if you're the person reading the personal development, you're attending the seminars, you're growing yourself, you're learning, and your partner isn't, then it's like shining a bright light on them and holding up a mirror, and it's showing them the aspects of themselves that they might not be comfortable with. The other thing I want to say to you is sometimes it's the staying that ultimately leads to rekindling the romance and growing yourselves as a couple in a whole new way. And that's what happened to my husband and I. So in the beginning with the business, I wanted him to be like me, and thank God he is not like me. It would drive me crazy. But I love to sell. I love to market. I love to onboard new people. I love to grow businesses. And he is a CPA. He loves spreadsheets and financial analysis. I love those things too. But he is very risk averse, and I have a higher level of risk. So for me, bringing him along to the seminars and trying to get him fired up and be like, oh my gosh, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, all these people, it just wasn't for him. And what that ultimately did, it put a rift in our relationship. And so as part of the healing, what it came down to was deciding that we were going to stay together, and not just because of our faith and not just because of our kids, as noble as those things sound, but because we were still in love with each other. And here's the other thing, come in really close. You can love someone, but you don't always have to like them. And what we realized is we were still in love, but we didn't necessarily like one another at that particular time. And so I want to give you 5 tips. And these are tips that I used myself in helping to heal our relationship, helping us to be even stronger than ever. And please drop a comment below, hit the subscribe button. As I said, this is raw and real entrepreneurship. And if you want it sugar coated, this might not be the channel for you, because I want you to understand entrepreneurship is challenging, but it's worth it. Your relationship may be challenging, but unless there is abuse, then it can be worth it. And you can grow together and you can come out even stronger on the other side. There are so many great entrepreneurial couples out there that navigate these waters. Jay-Z and Beyonce, there's an example of a couple who is navigating entrepreneurship. They're performers, but they're entrepreneurs. You look at even, like them or not, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, yes, they're royals. They had a great start financially, but they're also very entrepreneurial. And so when you think about it, you don't have to both be entrepreneurs. One person might be the entrepreneur, the other person isn't the entrepreneur. But either way, that business does become the third person in your relationship, and you have to figure out a way at times to put that person to the side. So my first tip that I want to give you is to schedule regular check-in meetings. You will be that person perhaps that talks about your business even in the bedroom. You're talking about the business at the dinner table. You're out on a date and it's business, business, business. And it's Sunday and you're on your phone and you're checking your DMs and your emails and your Slack messages and all of the different things. That is highly annoying. And I, fortunately, am not that person. I'm very good at saying Sundays, sacred Sundays. I don't do business on Sundays, but I know people that it's 7 days a week. It's just constant and they never shut off. And guess what? They eventually burn out. And it's usually a slow burn. First, they might just start to maybe, need something else to cope. It could be alcohol. It could be, who knows, whatever it is. And then it's just that they look for ways to get distracted. They look for ways to be out of the relationship because they're more married to their work than they are to their partner, right? And it's that slow burn that is very, very concerning. Now, fortunately for me, that was never the case. It was like Sunday, no, I am not doing business unless it's an emergency. So that one was really good for me. But if you're that person who's 7 days a week, what I want you to do is to schedule a weekly sync up with your partner. And that's the time when you talk about business. And even if they're not in your business, that's the time when you download, this is what's going on with my new hire. This is what's going on with my cash flow. This is what's going on with my legal. And if you're a woman, for us, when we talk about things, it elevates our serotonin, it's our feel-good neurochemical. When men talk about their problems, it actually lowers their testosterone. And so, you can just say to your partner, look, I just want to download, let's do our weekly sync up and make it fun. Maybe you go for a walk together or you go for dinner together, but do something. Ideally, what Chris and I found is getting out of the house is really helpful for that weekly sync up, that check-in. Number 2 is recognize your individual strengths. There are so many wonderful personality assessments out there, like the DISC profile and, all these different ones. But what are your strengths and what are the places where you recognize your partner's strengths? And if you could step back for a minute and if you were outside of the relationship and be able to look at your partner and say, gosh, these are this person's strengths. So for my husband, his strengths are, as I said, financial forecasting. He's very detail oriented. He is that person. If the form's 30 pages, he doesn't mind filling it out. He likes to navigate things like tax law and, all of that stuff. For me, it's the creative process. Like, it's not that I'm not good at the other stuff, but my real strengths, my zone of genius, putting together sales deals, onboarding new people, creating culture, creating environment. And when we could step back and go, wow, these are your strengths. These are my strengths. And here was the thing. In one of our most raw and real conversations, my husband said to me, he said, Susan, I'm actually envious that you're that person who can go on a stage in front of 20,000 people, or you can go out and talk to people, talk to strangers, make things happen. I'm not that person. And I confessed to him, I said, honey, I'm actually more introverted. Like, cocktail parties freak me out. I'm okay in front of 20,000 people, but that's a stage and I'm off versus, that intimate small talk. I've had to work at that. And so when we could see each other's strengths, we looked at each other with a different lens. And it's so important that you do that. And if you are right in the throes of having a lot of turmoil in your relationship, maybe you bring in someone else who can help you, a mediator or a therapist or someone. Number 3 is do not bring devices like your laptop and your mobile phone to bed. Don't do it. The bedroom is for 2 things, my friends, and you know what they are, right? And it's not for you to be in bed and it's like, oh, I just got to crank out more emails, or I've got to check my LinkedIn and my Instagram and my Twitter or whatever it is. It's you want the bedroom to be your safe haven. And we associate our environment with different emotions. So you want your bedroom to be that place that's associated with 2 R's, romance and relaxation. So thinking about that, do not bring those devices to your bedroom and to your bed. And I actually charge my cell phone in my office. I shut down my laptop at night. Those things do not come in our bedroom. Number 4 is get help. So just because you're seeking out a relationship specialist doesn't mean that is the right person for you. Sometimes that person can be biased, and no offense if that's you. If you are a therapist, there's so many great ones out there, but I do recommend you get help, but make sure it's the right help for you. For my husband and I, it was really our pastor. And we also went to couples counseling as well. And the therapist, she said, firstly, I need to know who the client is. If my client is the marriage, or if my client is one of you, or if my client is the children. And we're like, the client is the marriage, right? So getting clear, but we had been to some other people and they weren't the right fit for us. And so make sure whoever it is you're talking to aligns with your values as a couple, aligns with your beliefs as a couple. And that is going to be a great person, because one of the things we hear often is that couples who go to couples counseling, they have a higher likelihood of divorce. And I want to insert something and say couples that go to the wrong counselor, for them, have a higher likelihood of divorce. And then the fifth thing is start to dream again. As someone who, as I said, anyone who tells you they've never had a fight with their partner, maybe there's a unicorn out there. I don't know. Most couples fight, and sometimes you fight dirty, and sometimes you say things that really hurt, and you can't take your words back. Your words are so powerful. So instead of using them for destruction, use them for construction. And how can you start to dream again? And so being able, again, get out of your house, especially if your business is at home, get out of your office, go somewhere and start to dream. So one of the things that helped to heal our relationship was going away. And it might just be for a night in a hotel, and schedule that dreaming time and say, okay, listen, if, we have our business exits and we make a significant amount of money, what are some things we want to do? Or when we have more time, what are some things we want to do? And be okay if that person has different dreams than you, because there was a point where Chris was saying, we don't have the same dreams. And I'm like, babe, hold on, right? Let's back up for a minute, because we have the same values. So if we have the same values, we must have some shared dreams. So let's go explore what those shared dreams are. And even if he wants to eventually be in Switzerland, as an example, I want to be in Maui, as an example, it doesn't mean that you can't merge those dreams, but we all have to have dreams and goals. And I promise you, as a couple, when you bring those dreams and goals together and you have even a couple of shared dreams, guess what? That's when you can focus together. That's when you get that buy-in of making the relationship work. So with that, this has been another episode of Raw and Real Entrepreneurship. And I would just encourage you to drop a comment below. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'm the person who responds to all of your comments. If this video has been helpful, please share it on social, tag me. I would love that. And if you have a topic for a video around being an entrepreneur, and I'm not afraid of the tough topics, please go to susansly.com, just send a message there and title your email topic, and I will look at your topic. And especially if it's something a lot of other people are asking for, I will make a video just for you. So with that, God bless, go rock your day. You are amazing. And I will see you in another video.